Hello, welcome to the Coach Trap podcast. You've just got me today. Greg is on his golfing holiday. What can you do? I'm joined with Chris. I'll let Chris introduce himself. How's it going, Chris?
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Chris. I am a nurse by background, and kind of, I guess, maybe a slightly different story to most. I was being a surgical nurse, went into education, and then kind of fell into kind of supervision and coaching. And just thought it was quite. I thought, oh, this might be quite helpful, but too busy to kind of fit this in. And then basically had a preceptor, a new nurse who was just every day they came in, they were just like rabbit in the headlights, just couldn't. And everything I tried, so gave them support, gave them more kind of supernumerary time. Nothing seemed to sort of help. So I thought, oh, I'll give this kind of supervision, this kind of coaching a go. So dedicate some time, kind of did your classic sort of listening, um, and all the kind of classic stuff came up. But then without going into too much detail, there was some like home stuff that sort of came up. Actually, we kind of chat about that, had a couple of weeks off, and then came back a completely different person. And I guess that was the kind of start of my kind of supervision coaching journey. I then became lead for the project, so I'm a professional nurse advocate lead. I'm not expecting people to know that, but basically my role is to embed supervision and coaching into an NHS started doing that, having some success. So we've got 50 professional nurse advocates in our trust now. And then basically, this is kind of the start of me seeing how helpful that's been for others, and then kind of just dipping my toe outside. I'll be very honest, social media isn't sort of my thing. So a lot of what I'm doing at the moment is kind of experimenting, see what that's sort of like. But yeah, and obviously seeing my friends actually have similar challenges where maybe feeling a bit not engaged at work, similar for like nurses. There's kind of stress related challenges within NHS working, and just seeing the changes it's having. And yeah, and guess I'm probably more looking at a sort of leadership style in terms of how we change how we lead, and we're coming from from a more transactional leadership style, so a very short-term performance driven, like demanding stuff. We're actually changing to a more transformational leadership style, so a more kind of being more visionary, but actually understanding that if we develop individuals towards our vision and support them, then actually that gets better outcomes. And that's mainly from an NHS point of view. But that's kind of my journey. Then I guess just stepping out slightly and just seeing if I could help with others. And I'm quite new to this. Like I have other commitments. So I'm only spending probably about an hour a day on this. But it's just kind of exploring and getting to connect with great people like you. I'm just kind of chat about it. So yeah, that's kind of my story in a nutshell, really.
That's a great story, and it's where a lot of people are as well at the moment. It's interesting you said you don't really, social media doesn't come naturally to you, which is
Mm,
the case for most people, especially coaches. You find a lot of different personality types between coaches and marketers. Um, Me and Greg, for example, coaches are brilliant at talking to people, listening, solving problems, all of that stuff. Marketers are more analytical, logical. I don't want to say psychopaths, but that's the stereotype, isn't it? But bridging that gap is really where all the profits really are to be made, because
mm,
you can do both. Because a great coach without great marketing isn't going to be seen, and a great marketer who isn't a good coach isn't really going to do anything either. So that's really important. But I'd love to know, Chris, what's the ultimate goal with the coaching for you?
so interesting. I got asked this just today. Actually, I guess it comes down to kind of my why. And actually, I don't really like need to do this. So in terms of like, we're like financially okay. My job pays well enough. Obviously, we all want like a little bit more money and stuff. But actually, it's more about trying to get people to understand that actually. And I guess I'm learning a bit more about why do we naturally go from this transactional leadership? Why does that kind of feel easier than actually evidence seems to suggest that this transformational leadership is better. And actually, I guess I want to teach more people about this transformational leadership. And I guess even doing this over the last few months, I guess I'm learning that actually maybe I'm trying to educate kind of the UK about maybe how we change to more transformational leadership. I speak to my friends and colleagues, but actually they feel a bit disengaged. There's increases in kind of general sort of stress and mental health related sicknesses, and actually maybe that's because of how we're working. So I guess that's kind of my why. And actually, someone asked me about what my goal is. I don't really know. I guess I just want to try and make a difference to others. But in terms of on the business, I don't really have like a goal. I guess it's how I can help more. And actually, if I can help more in my NHS role, then I'll stay doing that, and this will become like a fun little hobby. But actually, if I find that I'm able to have more impact and meaning outside and I can kind of make that sustainable, then I'll kind of go that way. So I guess I don't really have a vision, but I guess I want to try and have as much impact at the moment. And I feel that my learning, so I also just finished a university course and just did a lot of research about what engages people in supervision and is it their leadership style, and actually does supervision and coaching change our leadership styles? If you have regular supervision and coaching, do you become more transformational? And the evidence seems to suggest that. And I'll probably do some future work in that over the next sort of couple of years. So I haven't really answered your question, but I guess for me, it's not necessarily about, it's about the biggest impact I can have. I think that that's it really.
Yeah, that's such a much better purpose than a lot of people get into entrepreneurship and coaching for the money, and
Mm,
those are the people that fail. 86% of registered coaches fail every single year, and probably I would like to think most of those are in it for the money. The ones who
mm,
are actually trying to help people are usually helping more people, and they don't fail because of that. Because when you help people, people help you as well, and it's
mm,
all just kind of that circular thing. But something that a lot of people that are getting into coaching for helping people struggle with is the marketing, is the social media, because they don't really want to get themselves out there. But a great reframe that I came across the other day was you can't help people unless they know you exist. So
mm.
the marketing is kind of it's exposing yourself to more people. I mean, solving problems in the content itself for free as well. And it's really taking that barrier down in your head from taking something from people, like their attention. It's more giving your advice, your skills to them to kind of help more people and get you more clients. You help more clients even more in detail there. But I was just looking at your LinkedIn profile actually. Your bio says coach helping people navigate career confusion. Helping people is quite broad. I would love to know if you've had any thoughts about any niches, or have you thought about that yet?
It's interesting. I was just listening to your last podcast just before we came on, and you spoke about niches on that one, and I haven't actually. And I know I should have a niche, and I definitely can't help everyone. And I guess maybe it's more about maybe my niche is going to end up being that more about, I guess, like leaders is quite a broad thing, but actually maybe about how I get organizations to change slightly with how they do their day-to-day business, and actually how allocating time for kind of supervision coaching and developing individuals actually can make a bigger difference. And I guess that is probably what I'm gonna kind of twist into. And I think actually I probably will make a few adjustments on my social media and maybe kind of focus more on that, because actually that's what I do in my day-to-day role. And actually maybe it'd be more helpful if I link it a bit more. Whereas I do coaching in my day-to-day role, but that is my job, is to embed that. So actually I think I might do that. I think that's kind of my thought. I don't know what your thoughts
Yeah.
are on that.
That's brilliant. I think you said you wanted advice as a coach starting out, right? And I
Yeah.
think the most important thing is having a niche and being like the well-known guy in that niche. Like I don't know if you heard the last podcast I said it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond, because
Yeah.
you can dominate that pond, and it's gonna expand so much quicker than you getting eaten by the big shark, Greg, in the big pond. So yeah, you've got the point of content is to build trust with people who you can help the most, basically, and they associate you with that thing, which makes it much easier for you to, uh, coach more people and help more people. You've got to start small. You've got to start somewhere, and when people see in your bio, for example, helping people, they're not thinking that's me. They might think this guy might not know me. He doesn't know my problems. He doesn't know my context. Doesn't know my life. But if you said their exact person, for example, like in my bio it says I help coaches. People think, oh, well, I'm a coach. He can help me. I'm struggling with my marketing. So you've got to kind of put in your bio or in your content implicitly maybe who you help, and what problem you solve for them, and then people who you do help and who have that problem are going to be instantly attracted to you. I think it's much less complicated than people think, where you don't have to optimize every single word. You just need to be clear about who you help, what problem you solve, and just be yourself, and you're going to attract people that genuinely get on with you, and who you can help as well. So that's my biggest piece of advice for you there. But how is LinkedIn going at the moment? I'd love to know a little bit more about that. Is LinkedIn your main platform?
So I LinkedIn, and then when I was chatting with yourself, you said about maybe trying. No, was it? No, sorry. Greg said about trying X
Yeah,
and said it's very different. So LinkedIn, you kind of have your own kind of groups and you kind of stay together, whereas X is a bit of a free for all.
yeah,
So I started kind of the post I'll do on LinkedIn, I would kind of just almost copy them into X and just see how they go. LinkedIn, I get a little bit more. Interestingly, the best one I've had is around leadership. And actually, I was going to ask you a question about. I feel like leadership is too broad and it's like quite competitive area. So I guess it's narrowing down like who your leaders are as well. Yeah, I saw a little nod. Is that leadership is
Yeah.
leaders are too broad as well?
It is. There's a
Yeah,
lot of people that say they help leaders, aren't there? You know, yeah, I'm sure you see
yeah,
them a
yeah.
lot as well.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just use those 2, and I guess my kind of thought was kind of get used to that platform and then move to another one, and then kind of get used to that kind of platform. And when that platform starts becoming a bit easier and I kind of understand kind of how that works, then kind of move to the next one. Because at the moment, yeah, I do an hour like 5 till 6 in the morning, and then that's kind of the time that I dedicate, and then I'll try and find time to do like other bits. So yes, at the moment, kind of got used to LinkedIn, but I must admit, I'm probably not getting loads of stuff from it. Um, so yeah, I would guess I'm still experimenting, I'm still learning. So any tips for LinkedIn would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think for you, starting on one platform is a good idea. Again, it's like being that big fish in the small pond. Spreading yourself too thin, too early is going to be detrimental, basically. But if you can show up consistently every day, a couple of times a week, in front of the same people, because they're gonna start trusting you, right? Because Greg always loves his figures. He always says people want to see you 6 to 8 times before they actually buy from you. So you've really got to show up consistently and build on that trust, keep exponentially growing it, and capitalize on it. So one platform is good. With LinkedIn, obviously there's a lot of leaders on LinkedIn, of course. I think you've almost got to think, who do you resonate with the most, or who resonates with you the most? What experience have you got? How could you help them better than, say, a different type of leader? I think this is a very personal thing, but you've just got to choose someone. I think just choosing someone is better than just saying leaders. It's not too important who you choose, as long as you choose some type of person, so that those people are going to be attracted to you. But it's kind of unnatural also, because you don't see that many people in real life who are in like a specific niche. Maybe like one in 1,000 people are that person. But obviously on LinkedIn, you've got access to the whole world. So there's so many people in every single stupid tiny niche that you could think of, that it's easy to be able to help people in any kind of industry. So I don't know if you heard us talking about hooks in the last podcast, but did you hear that?
I don't think I did. I think I'd probably say exactly. I'm probably about like 10 minutes in, so I didn't think I got to hooks.
So hooks are kind of linked to this. So basically, you've got to call out the person that you want to help. It's not
Mhm.
too complicated. Again, it's just being clear and specific with who you help, so that they resonate with that, so that they open it, they trust you, they open another couple of posts, they send you a message maybe, and that's kind of the whole process of becoming a successful coach. Because the whole point of social media is basically to build trust with people. And to build trust
Mm.
with people, you've got to be specific. People have got to think, this is the guy that's going to solve my problems, basically, and you've got to show up consistently, and you're pretty much set. I mean, obviously you hear all these like optimizations, DM strategies, all of that stuff, but it's not that important when you're just starting out. You just need to get yourself out there, share, the sub problems of the problem that you solve, and yeah, you're going to attract the right people in the right time, as long as you keep posting consistently.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking maybe I might focus a bit more on like engagement. So
Yeah.
leaders who may be having challenges like engaging kind of their staff and stuff. Maybe that might be getting smaller, but I probably still need to go smaller still. But that might be one that kind of links quite nicely, I think.
I think that's a great one, because
Yeah, yeah.
obviously they're going to have quite a lot of money to spend as well. I'm thinking the business minded. That's going to be a good niche, and there's a lot of those people on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, how do you when you like look? Because obviously with LinkedIn, you get kind of put in the small pool. How do you connect to people kind of outside your pool? Is it kind of the posting? Do you search for people? Like how do you do that?
Yeah, so what I do with LinkedIn, obviously I'm targeting coaches. So I literally
Mm,
just search coach on LinkedIn and
mm,
a billion connection requests to those people. Maybe send them
yeah,
a
yeah.
message as well if I think their profile's interesting, if I see something unique about them, I'll send a
Mm,
message. For example, the other day I connected with a coach called Daniel. And I was like, that's a great
mm.
name. And we had a great conversation about loads of different things about coaching, marketing, all of that stuff. And it's just kind of humanizing yourself on social media. A lot of people act like robots because it's online, and it's kind of weird, but you get
Mm.
obviously the best results when you're just acting like a human. You're connecting with people, interesting, unique people, and commenting on that as well. Definitely also commenting on posts of the people that you could potentially help. that what that's gonna do is you're gonna see more of those people in your feed. So then you can keep scrolling, keep seeing different people, keep commenting, keep seeing more and more leaders. And obviously, if they reply, which is an interesting thing on LinkedIn, if they reply to your comment, they're gonna be like 15 times more likely to see your post in their feed, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
obviously, it's
yeah.
really important to comment on the people who are in your niche on their posts, basically. And they probably will be posting as well because a lot of leaders are on LinkedIn to, I don't know, hire more people or do whatever leaders do. But they should be posting and you should be able to comment. Yeah, that's my biggest advice. Definitely just search for people in that niche. And you should have a abundance of options really. Like I search for coach and there's like 37 different pages of coaches like in 20-mile radius of me. So it's obviously yeah, it's powerful.
And in terms of the platforms, kind of, do you have like a ranking which one's best, or is it does it matter what you're doing? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
It really depends, 50/50 with personality and with your niche. So for you, I think obviously your niche is mainly LinkedIn. So that's I'm leaning towards that. Some
Mhm.
people just don't like LinkedIn. Some people don't get on with it. They don't like the corporate kind of stuff on there. But potentially that could be your unique selling point is you're not corporate and you really stand out on that. For you, LinkedIn, I would say for the leaders. I think what is really underrated is Twitter, like Greg said. X. I mean, so we were on a podcast the other day and someone didn't know what X was. I was like, "You don't know what X is?" They still think it's called Twitter, but I can't believe that. But there's a lot of people on
Yeah.
there. I think they get about 300 million daily users or something ridiculous
Oh,
like
wow.
that. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's a lot more spread out compared to LinkedIn because everyone on LinkedIn is there for the business or the job opportunities or whatever. X is unique in that people are scrolling it for fun as well, which is quite interesting for different niches. Like, I'm trying to think, not business coaches, because obviously business coaches are more inclined to target business people who would be on LinkedIn, but something more like therapy or anything like that would be more X related because people obviously aren't on LinkedIn for fun most of the time, unless you're a weird guy like me. But but yeah, definitely choose one platform. Kind of get a decent audience there, build some connections, talk to people. Obviously, it's called social media for a reason. The whole point is you
Mm.
talk to as many people as possible, and you're going to learn stuff off them as well. Like I had a message this morning, for example. I invited someone on the podcast on LinkedIn, and they said, "No, I can't do it at the moment." And I was like, "Why? Is there any reason?" And they were like, "A time constraint." So I'm thinking, how could I make the podcast more accessible to people who are really busy? How could I smoothen out the processes, for example? And you're going to learn stuff like that when you just be social on social media, which sounds like a stupid thing to say, but it's true. But yeah, LinkedIn's good.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely need to do more, more kind of messaging and searching and stuff. And I think it's really helpful to think about my sort of niche. It's one of the things I know I've needed to do it, but actually having this time to chat about it's been sort of really helpful. What's your sort of plan, vision, got of thing? What are you working towards?
Well, obviously, I'm targeting as many coaches as possible. I'm going to dominate the coach market, world domination. Yeah, I find it interesting that you say that. I think I didn't used to target coaches. I used to be a ghostwriter. I used to write posts for all sorts of corporate people, employees, not even entrepreneurs. But I realized that actually, if I could use my skills to help coaches, it would be a much more kind of fulfilling thing for me because I could then help people, if that makes sense. Because there's
Mm,
so many great coaches that don't know how to market. You never get taught how to market. So it's obviously using your skills to help people solve their problems and solve other people's problems, and it's that ripple effect, you know. But I don't think that that niche almost comes to you. You just have to start with something, and it's gonna evolve and adapt over time to become the thing that you want it to become. Coaching didn't really. I never thought of targeting coaches before. Greg came to me, and that kind of changed everything. And that was because I was on social media, exposing myself to those opportunities and getting myself out there a lot. So that's my journey. Yeah. But yeah, if you got any other questions about LinkedIn or about marketing or anything like that, starting out as a coach, your offer maybe.
I think maybe a bit more about so maybe a bit more about how the post. So with LinkedIn, so I got some feedback with some of my videos because I'm quite quiet because I do it quite early on. But is there a big thing? Because you don't see many videos on LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn kind of not for videos? I know every so often one might come down, but is it more like I've tried to experiment? It seems to be like a post with pictures seem to do quite well. Is there any sort of advice for kind of posting?
Yeah, I did see your video that I think you posted it a couple of weeks ago, and it was so quiet I had to turn up the volume like a lot. But
Yeah.
videos are actually surprisingly good on LinkedIn. As long as
Okay.
you have the big thing is that you have captions on them so that people who
Okay.
don't have headphones or whatever, if they're scrolling on the train or in their job, can read it as well as
Oh,
if they want to listen to it. And it's not the main thing, it's just to complement your post
yeah.
because obviously people hearing words from people, especially for niches like life coaches, for example, it builds trust so much more and it's going to be so much more effective for targeting more people, targeting the right people and vetting them, making sure you get on with them, like personality wise, which is important for life coaching. But yeah, videos do well. Photos especially do well. I don't think I've seen a LinkedIn post without a photo for a very long time on my feed, which is, yeah. And a lot of them are just selfies of people as well. And they seem to do a lot better. But that's just the game of the algorithm. I wouldn't really worry about that too much. I would just focus on building trust, being clear on who you're targeting and solving those mini problems that they're having and being seen by them as many times as possible, reaching out. And that's pretty much how you're going to build a viable business, potentially, quit your job and all of that good stuff. But yeah, that's my biggest advice for that.
And I guess my is there anything I could do to sort of help you with your kind of journey, vision, whatever you want to call it?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that before. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I don't know really. I guess the challenge I have is actually my kind of social media sort of presence isn't that high. So like, even if I shared stuff, it's probably not that helpful. I don't know because I guess what I see is you and Greg are so far ahead in your kind of journey that actually what I can offer maybe isn't that that much at the moment. So I guess not a lot for you in particular. But yeah, I guess not a lot for you. I don't think, like being honest. But I guess just kind of reaching out and see if there is anything that you think, like, yeah, I might be able to help you with.
Yeah, it's interesting that you think we're so far ahead. I think people always think they're further behind than they actually are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You probably are probably a lot further ahead than you think you are, and we probably are
Mhm.
also a lot further ahead in your eyes than we think we are. Um, yeah, it's
Yeah.
important not to get too bogged down in that. That's quite an interesting conversation for the podcast
Yeah.
because a lot of people quit because they think they're not helping enough people. But if you think about it, if you get maybe like 5 likes on a LinkedIn post, if 5 people said, "Well done, that's really good," in real life, you'd be like, "Oh, brilliant, that's really good. I'm happy with that." But obviously, people
Yeah.
don't because they compare themselves too much to other people, and that links into sending DMs as well. That humanizes those 5 likes so that it feels like 5 actual people rather than just 5 thumbs up on a screen, if that makes sense. But that's interesting. A lot of people
Yeah.
have doubts and stuff, especially coaches getting into it. But yeah,
But yeah, no, that was that was really helpful. Yeah.
that's good. I hope I've solved a couple of the marketing issues that you got.
Yeah.
And
No, definitely.
obviously with the offer as well, it's niching down, choosing anyone basically that you
Mm.
think you can help, and then making it as easy as possible for them to say yes. If you were to say, "Do you want this?" Make it as easy as possible for them to say yes. So reduce the barriers to entry, build trust, and you've got a business within a couple of months, you should be able to replace your NHS income, possibly. I don't know. But that's what I've seen a lot of people do within like 2 to 3 months, as long as they're posting
Oh, well.
consistently, building trust and targeting the right people. And obviously, they have to be good coaches as well. It's pretty possible to be able to do that if you're getting the volume in, especially with the DMs and stuff. Because I think a lot of people, they miss out on DMs. They think it's a little bit too scary and they feel a little bit salesy, which is
Mm.
something that I've heard a lot of coaches say on the podcast, actually. But it's really not. People won't be pissed off if you send them a DM. Like the worst case is that they ignore you. So I think more people should send more DMs. But yeah, hopefully I've solved a couple of issues there.
Yeah, yeah. That was really, really helpful. Yeah, I guess interestingly, I know we're finishing up, but I guess interestingly, it made me thinking about my profile, and if my profile kind of looks professional enough, but um, maybe that's something I kind of need to look at, and obviously change the kind of people bit as well.
I don't think it has to look professional. I think it just has to look human and specific with who you're targeting. And that's pretty much all it needs to do. Like my banner, for example, is like 4 words and it says get seen, get paid. And I made it on Canva in about 15 minutes. And I'm a marketing
Mhm.
guy as well. It just doesn't really matter. It's more the thing that you should be thinking about mostly is who is seeing me and what are they thinking of
Mm.
me. Because that's what it's all about, building that trust with the right people and in the content as well. It's interesting you said as well, you only spend an hour a day on it. I think that's plenty.
Mm.
I don't think you need to spend more than that. Me and Greg, for example, we spend about an hour a day on our marketing as well. We do 20 minutes comments, 20 minutes DMs, 20 minutes creating content. And content comes from a lot of places, especially when you've got a couple of clients. You're on client calls. They're asking you some questions. You're answering them. You write them down after a call, and you've got 15 Twitter posts to post about. You've got 5 topics for LinkedIn. Um, but yeah, ideas come from everywhere, and if you're kind of deliberate with what you're thinking about and who, it's just getting ideas for people that you can solve them for, basically. But yeah, it's been good to have you on. We've got 7 minutes left. Thank you, Chris, for
Yeah.
coming on, and anyone listening, don't fall into the coach trap.